So you probably see up on the screen, oops, somebody else admit. You can probably see it up on the screen about the schedule. And I really don't know what kind of emails you've gotten at home telling you about the switchover. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to just talk about that at the beginning of the hour today. First thing, so starting Tuesday is when 11th and 12th grade goes back to hybrid model. I'm still going to be teaching remotely. They finally told me last night because they hadn't decided or said anything until yesterday. So they told me last night that I'll still be teaching remotely. So my plan is, during hybrid, is to still be teaching live during each hour and then recording it. So if you're at home, which you guys will be at home for a while, just come on during class time like always. Now, the big thing that I wasn't sure they made clear to 9th and 10th grade students is that the hybrid schedule is different. So the hybrid schedule is like 75-minute classes, and we start at 8:35. Now I put a lunch up on there just because that's for my schedule, for my third hour. Your third hour teacher is what determines your lunch. And again, I know for 9th and 10th graders, you're not coming back yet for 2 more weeks, but all 4 grades are going to go by this schedule because there's a lot of classes that are mixed grades, and so everybody's going to go by the same time schedule. So if you guys need to take a screenshot of this, that'd be a good plan. If you need to write this down, whatever you want. I wanted to make sure you guys had this schedule somewhere so that you knew, starting on Tuesday, we're going to meet at 10 o'clock instead of 10:15. Anybody have any questions on the schedule that's up there? Okay. Just for my knowledge, did they do a good job telling you guys about this is going to be the new schedule? Because I don't get to see emails coming out to you guys as students. Did you guys know this was going to be your schedule on Tuesday? Okay. You did? Okay. Or you didn't? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There's a couple more kids. Mason and Caroline. Mason and Caroline aren't here today. Maybe I'll send them a message. Okay. Yeah. See, and that's what I was wondering if. I was assuming your teachers were gonna let you know because honestly, last week a lot of the teachers weren't even sure how the schedule was supposed to work. When we were first told about it, we were under the impression it was like a mixture of 2 schedules. So it's kind of messed up. But it really won't. I mean, obviously me teaching remotely is not going to matter for you until 2 more weeks. But and when we get closer to that time, I'll double check to find out who is A day, B day virtual, because I don't know if the computer is up to date or not. And I didn't know if any of you guys were trying to switch to virtual because the school website was down for like most of the weekend when you had to submit your responses. So it is kind of there's a lot of things been going on. So I figured it was good for me to kind of go over some details. One other thing. So apparently the district is also doing kind of an initiative. I think they're called cameras. I think it's called Cameras On, where they want everybody to have cameras on so we can interact, etc., etc. So I'm definitely telling you guys because I want to say that they're going to kind of pop in and check. And I know some of you guys have already contacted me about issues, you know, one way or another, whether your camera's broken, etc. So I know some of you guys can't have your camera on. But for everybody else, just make sure you guys turn your cameras on. I don't want to get in trouble because you don't have it turned on. And I don't want to have to do something like, you know, teacher-wise. I hate punishment things because I'm not a big fan of that. But so I'm just telling you guys, turn your cameras on if possible, because they're going to be checking for that. And I don't know the reason for the big push. I don't know the reason for the big push on the camera usage, but I was told about it, so I'm passing it on. And if you do have an issue for one reason or another, you can get a hold of me. Like I said, some of you already have, so no issue there. Okay, now in terms of class material, now that we took 10 minutes to go over future things, does anybody have any questions from 7-6 that they want me to go over with you? Like from yesterday's homework. I saw only about half of you did it. And I don't know if that's, I don't know how great that is or bad that is. I also told you yesterday that it's not a horrible idea to put off your homework to this weekend so that you don't forget things. So, you know, I'm not making judgments about it. I just wanted to know if you had questions that you wanted me to go over. Okay. If not, you know, just holler them out if you have them. Otherwise, I guess I'll start 7-7. You're going to find 7-7 to be very easy because you've kind of done a form of it in the past. And just to kind of give you a heads up, a lot of the work we're doing in Chapter 7 is to kind of brace you for Chapter 8. Because when we're doing Chapter 8, we need to use a lot of these skills from Chapter 7 in Chapter 8. So I don't want Chapter 7 feeling kind of easy for you, to be like a false, I'm trying to think of the correct word, predictor. I don't want it to be a false predictor of how everything is going. Which, if it's just going easy for you, that is awesome. That's good. But I just want you guys to know that Chapter 8 will definitely feel more difficult because Chapter 7 is a lot of the skills needed for Chapter 8. It's like a pre-chapter. So, adding and subtracting polynomials. Honestly, I bet I could just give this section to you guys and you guys would probably be able to do it. But I'll teach it to you anyway, just in case you don't. The main thing to keep in mind is you can only add or subtract like terms. Like terms are terms with the same variable power combination. Now the main place that this can get confused is when you're doing multiplying. You can multiply any two things together. And so that's usually the biggest confusion in Algebra 1 students. Multiplying and dividing, you can combine anything together. Adding and subtracting, you can't. Adding and subtracting, you can only combine things that are like terms. So like in this case, the number in the front is irrelevant. The like term portion of it is the variable power combination. So an x to the first power, I would look for other x to the first powers. And then these three would be like terms. And then I would look for y to the first powers. And then these two would be like terms. So that's what a like term is. And then you combine, you basically go through the work to put them together. So I've got a positive 6x, I've got a positive 3x. If you guys kind of forgot, the sign to the left of it is part of the term. So we've got positive 6x, positive 3x, minus 1x, because there's no number there. And then I would do the y's separately, minus 8y plus 5y. The order of them wouldn't matter. It's just you're basically doing a counter. 6 of the x's plus 3 of the x's would be 9 of the x's, minus 1 of the x's, so that would be 8 of the x's. And then you have negative 8 of the y's plus 5 of the y's would be negative 3 of the y's. And you can either call this combining like terms, or you can just call this adding and subtracting polynomials. Because this original problem had 5 terms, but we were able to combine some of the terms together to make it only 2 terms. Just kind of quickly in the chat, can you give me a 0 to 5? Like 5 being you already knew this? I just want to know how fast I should go through this. Okay. I kind of thought that was the case. Perfect. Okay, then I will start going through a little faster for sure. And like I said, I know some of you might have forgotten a lot of the details. I assumed you guys had seen this before. I'll just write you don't even have to copy this one down if you don't want. So these are all m's. It's hard to say. M's. But do know an m cubed is different than an m squared. So whatever this is why I say the like term is the same variable power combination. And there is no other m squared, so I wouldn't combine it with anything else. So I'm going to combine the m cubes and then the m squareds, which just stay as is. Okay. I'll skip this example, but it's the exact same thing. These are all like terms because they all have the same variable power combination. So an x squared y is the term, or the variable combo. An xy squared would be considered different. This would not be a like term, right? Okay. So this is your, oh yeah, the horizontal method. Yeah. I want to say the examples I just went through up there are the first 2 assignments. And when I get to the end of our notes, I'll talk to you guys about the assignments, because I wouldn't have broken it up like that, but it was, so I'll just talk about it. So horizontal method of adding is generally the most common when you're dealing with variables. But there is also another method called the vertical method. I don't care which method you guys use. I know the problems in the homework are kind of broken up, separated. Whatever. It's the same info. So I'll talk about the horizontal method because that's mainly what most people use. So if you look at this problem to start with, you have a parentheses plus a parentheses. Let's go with Jean. Jean, do I even need these parentheses? What do we normally look for with parentheses? Yeah, perfect. So we usually check to see if there's something in the front of the parentheses to multiply out. neither of these have something to multiply out. And so, to be honest, I'm going to take away the parentheses. So this would be 2x squared minus 1x plus 1x squared plus 3x minus 1. And then this goes the exact same thing about like terms. I've got a 2x squared and a 1x squared, so that would be 3x squared. And most of you absolutely do this in your head, and that's okay if you do. I've got minus x and plus 3x would be plus 2x. McDonald's is being pushy. And then I've got a minus 1 that's on its own, so it would stay on its own. Now, I'm not going to do the green problem with you guys because it kind of sounds like you guys are very, pretty already comfortable with this. That's basically what you look for. When there is a parentheses, you have to check to see if there's something in front of it to multiply out. Nora? The vertical method, I haven't talked about it yet, but I wrote it up there. If you do the vertical method, do you remember the one thing that has to happen when you're writing out the problem with the vertical method? Yeah, so basically everything has to be lined up correctly. And so vertical methods sometimes can be annoying because you have to rearrange things. That was a great answer, Nora. So if you do prefer the vertical method, well then just make sure you line up the right terms. So the minus 1 doesn't have another like term. Minus x plus 3x. But some people appreciate this method because it helps them mentally organize things. Where I know on the horizontal method, some people when they look at it get confused, it's just too much information for your brain at once. So, the vertical method for some people helps them mentally separate things. And if that's you, you are welcome to use whichever method you want. This green problem was here as an example because if you did this problem with vertical method, you'll notice that you have to combine things first. So doing the vertical method, it almost has to be simplified before you put it together. So I'd have to combine these two and then combine these two. And then I could do it the vertical method. There's advantages and disadvantages to either one. Like I said, I was going to skip the green one because it sounded like you guys were pretty comfortable with it. Who haven't I called on? Who haven't I called on for a while? Alex, maybe? Alex, did I really? I'm sorry. Okay, I will call on somebody else. Oh, Luke. Yes, Luke. Luke has come back from the dead. I can't remember. Is your mic the one that was broken? Or does yours work? Maybe Luke's not there. Yeah, I feel like I remember that from before. Sophie? Sophie, can you tell me what to do first on this problem? Or what you would do first? Sure. It's a good first step. So do you think you could just tell me what to write? Would that be easier than trying to explain it maybe? Because what you said was good. So how do I get rid of the parentheses? Or if you're not sure, that's fine. Okay, no, that's all right. That's kind of why I'm trying to call on people to find out things. Sydney, now John said it Was it the last problem? Maybe 2 problems ago? I don't know. So Jean said that we have to multiply things in front of the parentheses. So Sydney, do I have to multiply anything out in these? Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So the first parentheses doesn't have anything to multiply out. And so on the first one, I can just take them off. Like there's nothing to do. I just take off the parentheses. But on the second one, we've got a negative sign to multiply out. So this becomes negative 4x squared. And then negative 3b. Very good. Glove? Is that Davari, I'm assuming? Is that what you go by? Glove? All right. All right. I kind of like that nickname, to be honest. Can you, do you think you could tell me what to do next? If there is anything to do next? Okay. Do you want me to kind of walk you through it? Oh, okay, I can do that. So the first thing I'm looking at is this 2x squared. So then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to look through the rest of the problem. Is there another x squared? Okay, perfect. This one. So since they're both x squareds, I can put them together. So in my head, I'm going to do 2 minus 4. What do you get when you do that? Negative 2. So the 2 minus 4 would be negative 2. And then I'm just going to keep the x squared on it because I'm kind of counting up. I'm counting up how many x squareds there are. And then I just move on to my next term. So then I see I've got a plus b. So I'm going to go through the problem and see if there's other b's. Okay. So what do I get when I put these two together? Or maybe I should even talk about this. How many b's are on this first one? Right. 1. Perfect. Yep. So when there's no number, it's a 1. So in my head, I'm going to do 1 minus 3. I should say in my head or on my calculator. Yeah. So that gives you negative 2. Yeah. And then because we're talking about the b's, then we put the b right on that number. And then we'd be done because we put together any like terms. No, that was good. Yeah. How about this last one? How did this one go for you guys? Do I get the sense I should put up another one like this with subtraction? Okay. I know AJ's opinion. All right, nobody else has an opinion, so I'll just go with. This is actually the end of the notes. Like this section for the most part is fairly straightforward. The biggest difficulty in it is having a negative sign that you have to distribute. Otherwise, a majority of the section is putting together like terms. A majority of it is exactly like this line. Okay. So the assignment is technically broken up into 4 parts. Like I was trying to say at the beginning of the hour. I didn't create these assignments. I just, add them to my course. If it were me, I would have just put it as one bigger one. I know the point of it is to make them smaller so that you can do little bits at a time. So do know that you have two options. So the homework itself, all four assignments make 1 through 34. And it definitely has a lot of problems, but there's a reason for it. So I tried explaining at the beginning of the hour. This section is actually really important. Excuse me. This section is really important for next chapter because like terms is something you have to kind of be able to do easily so that the rest of the problem is easier. So that's why there's a lot of practice in this section. If you want to do all four assignments at once, just put them all on one piece of paper. Then what you can do is submit to that homework assignment 4 times. And that'll be fine too. If you're a person that wants to do the 4 assignments separately, well, then that's fine too. I mean, like, I don't have an issue with that. You know, each one of the 4 assignments is 8 to 9 problems. So each one of the 4 goes fast. So if you guys would prefer to do them separate, go for it. If you do them all together as 1 through 34, make sure you submit the same assignment to all 4 of them separately. Because it's the way that I have to enter grades in Schoology, it's not something where I can, like, when I see you did them all on once, I can't, like, put your score on for all the others. Schoology's kind of dumb. Okay, I don't know. Hopefully I didn't make that confusing for you. That's all we've got for today. So this might take you a little bit just because there's a bunch of problems. But again, we don't have school until next Tuesday. So that seems kind of weird that we have another 4-day weekend in already. Thank you guys for coming today. Remember, on Tuesday, we have a different schedule. Does anybody want me to put that schedule back up for you guys? Like to take a screenshot or anything? Okay, I can do that. Oh, that's not on this one. I had it over here. There's the schedule again if you need it.